Hello. Just wanted to come here briefly on my phone again. I've been doing a couple of videos on my phone. I want to do stuff on my camera again, but I guess this is just an easier way to upload and stuff. So I don't know. I hope to do more things with my camera. I just haven't had really any ideas. I'm working with other people too, so that's another reason why. I do like work and all. And these are kind of cool for updates, but basically, I just kind of want to talk about the Oscars. I've never been a huge fan of the Oscars. I'm like, when I am a fan, it's when like the right people win. But that doesn't always happen. And I know it's kind of like a week old or whatever since announcement and stuff like that, but screw it. I just kind of wanted to let some things sink in, and I want to talk about some of the nominees and their lack thereof nominees. First, I want to talk about kind of I guess, bad part of this video, which is Christopher Nolan not being nominated for anything for Interstellar. And in my opinion, Interstellar was the best film of the year. Now, some people may disagree. Like, you may think Foxcatcher or The Theory of Everything or American Sniper or, what have you was the best movie of 2014. Those are just a couple of movies that are nominated, and that just kind of came to my mind at first. So, yeah, I wish for the last two Batman films, as well as Inception, Christopher Nolan I wish he was nominated for Best Director. He has never been nominated for Best Director. Inception, he was nominated for Best Picture and Screenplay, but not Director. Before that, he was nominated for Best Original Screenplay with his brother for Memento. And, yeah, Christopher Nolan is really talented. You may not like his movies, but there is a level of talent that is there. George Lucas has talent. You may criticize his directing abilities, which I think for the prequels he got better as each film went on. But storytelling and the vision he has in his head is very amazing, and it is worth noting that he may not make the best films. Some would say, some might not think he makes the best films. Okay, I can see where you think that, but at the same time, he is a genius in the sense that he thinks of a lot of these things. And how many people would think of some of the stuff that George Lucas would, like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, just, I don't know, maybe somebody would have something similar, but like Star Wars, that is I like Star Wars, so, and you know how I feel about the new trilogy, and most likely another trilogy after this one, and so on and so forth. But that's aside the point. Basically, there are people where you may not like their work. They are geniuses. Christopher Nolan is a genius. I like his Batman films the best because I like Batman more. His trilogy was my favorite Batman interpretation because I think I touched upon this a while ago. Maybe not. Maybe I thought I did. But yes, Tim Burton's looked like a comic book. But Tim Burton really didn't read comic books at all. He just kind of looked at some of the pictures and got that comic book feel. And while that's cool, it's great, Nolan did something bold. He took a character that was already established a certain way, and he kept the roots, he kept the darkness, he made a backstory that wasn't really told, but is necessary for the series he makes. And, he did something that not a lot of people would have done, which I think is cool. He kept it in reality, which some people don't like, but you know what? If the movies themselves are good, who cares? Alright? Some people it's like a detective movie. Well, what was one of Batman's names? One of the names is the world's greatest detective. So in a way, he kind of is a detective of sorts. So I don't think there's anything wrong there. I may later on go into a detail of why I like the Nolan trilogy, and which one's my favorite and why. But that's not necessarily what this is about. It's about Christopher Nolan and never been nominated for Best Director, and why he wasn't nominated for Interstellar this year. Because Interstellar, yes, it's science fiction, but last year Gravity was made, and it won Best Director, and that movie was science fiction. When I saw Gravity, it was boring. Some say, it looks great, it looks amazing, and yes, it does, the effects are good. But other than that, I just kind of thought it was kind of a movie. That's just me. I know other people who didn't like it either, not necessarily for the reasons I kind of pointed out, because I don't want to get into a thing with Gravity, but I'm just pointing out, like, why did Gravity get nominated for Best Picture, Director, and all that stuff, but Interstellar gets nominated just for for music and then technical stuff. Not in cinematography. The cinematography is very good. Maybe they don't like Nolan. Maybe Nolan said something like you could shove it or something. I don't know if he would say that or anything like that, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess they don't like Nolan for some reason. At least not enough to nominate him for Best Director Oscar. Now on to, the good part. After Interstellar, as I have said, was my favorite movie of last year. My second favorite is Foxcatcher. So Foxcatcher, that film just stuck with me like, Interstellar did. But the fact that Foxcatcher was a real event that really happened, the fact that when you watch the film and I learned about the film, or a little bit about the background of the film before I saw it. I was just shocked of what happened, and I still was when I saw the movie. And I am glad Steve Carell and Mark Ruffalo are nominated for Oscars. Channing Tatum is not, but I didn't think he would be, but that's because I think he's still in the minds of the Oscar Academy, like that good-looking guy who has done a bunch of action films and comedies, and this is like his first dramatic thing. So he wasn't really going to get recognition. And if he was, he probably would have just been nominated. And people have complained about Steve Carell being nominated for Best Actor, and I'm just like, he is just as much of the lead as Channing Tatum. The film focuses just as much as him on John DuPont as it does Mark Schultz. It's about both of their stories. Mark Schultz and his relationship with John DuPont, as well as his brother Dave. And Dave is a supporting character, and he's there throughout the film, just supporting his brother and what he's doing. He wants the best for his brother. And then John's there, and he manipulates Mark because he knows what he wants to, and he knows how to say what's right to influence Mark to come and live with him and on his farm, as well as train there. And this film unfolds. It's just really amazing. It's a breathtaking film. I'm glad Steve Carell is nominated, and I think he could win the Oscar. I kind of hope he does, but I'm not going to say he will. But I guess because it's such a dramatic change from what everyone's used to, he plays a real person, which so does Bradley Cooper, Eddie Redmayne, and Benedict Cumberbatch. All of them, they're compared to Steve Carell. Steve Carell was a man who was very troubled. His character was not Steve Carell, the person, but John DuPont was a very troubled character in person. If you know the backstory, which I'll just tell a little bit about it. Basically, his mother didn't really do anything kind a lot. Like, maybe she'll, happy birthday and get him something, but that was it. He was really alone. His siblings were very considerably many years older than him. And, his mother really didn't pay much attention to him. He was kind of on his own. And, you see in the film he's trying to oppress his mother. And at some point the mother dies, and really that's when, he was already kind of acting odd, but at the same time it seemed like he was kind of still collected together, at least in enough that he doesn't lose his mind completely. But once she dies and he's not really impressing her, and he has really no one to impress anymore, that's when it starts to unravel. And then the events that you most likely know, they happen, and there's a lot to it that kind of led up to the events that took place. And his performance just stuck with me. Steve Carell's performance did. Mark Ruffalo was amazing. He played off Channing Tatum and Steve Carell so well. He embodied all three of them embodied the characters they were playing. John DuPont, Steve Carell embodied him. Channing Tatum embodied Mark Schultz, and Mark Ruffalo embodied Dave Schultz. And that is a show-stopping kind of landmark in a film when you're able to, because I actually at one point, Steve Carell in particular, but I kind of forgot I was watching those actors play those characters. I was convinced I was kind of watching the real life people, particularly Steve Carell, not just because of the nose, but because of the mannerisms. You watch footage of him, and some people I've seen on this documentary, or part of a documentary he had made about himself in Foxcatcher, Like, see, well, this is how he really was. No, that's not how he was. That was an act. That was an act put on for the cameras. So, he's shown in a good light. And he was a disturbed person. He had problems. He had many problems. And I think he was disturbed because of... he had paranoid schizophrenia. And maybe disturbed isn't the right word, but he had problems, basically, is what I'm trying to say. He should have been helped, but sometimes people don't see the signs until it's too late, and that's how a lot of people reacted. Like, even though he was a little odd, they never thought he would have done what he did. I didn't think he was going to kill Dave Schultz, who was his friend, really, and he liked him, like Dave liked John, but things happened, and really, I just kind of hope Steve Carell wins Best Actor. My second pick, though, will be like Eddie Redmayne for The Theory of Everything, and then Bradley Cooper for American Sniper. Mark Ruffalo, I would like to see win Best Supporting Actor for Foxcatcher as well. There'll be a Best Actor, Supporting Actor win for that film, but this is just what I would like to see. Not saying that's going to happen. If it does happen, cool. There's various reasons as to why I would like Steve Carell to win. Like, I don't know, there's many. I guess if you just look at his performance, it's just mind-blowing. Channing Tatum really helps sell the film, but for me, Steve Carell, like, once you see him, you can't take your eyes off him. And this may be just me, but I kind of felt like he was very unsettling, and he reminded me of Anthony Hopkins in The Silence of the Lambs. That's just to me. That's just how unsettling he was. Yeah, I hope Carell and Ruffalo win. I guess my second and third pick for supporting actor would be probably like Edward Norton for Birdman and Robert Duvall for The Judge. Very good performances this year, though. I mean, it'll be a very tough call. Like I said, that's who I would like to see win. Whether they win or not is a different story. But yeah, I wish Carell and Ruffalo the best, as well as all the other nominees. But I wish them luck just as more, though. And I wish luck for Interstellar. Wish it was nominated for Best Picture and Director, but I hope, Christopher Nolan will get an Oscar nomination for Best Director. I would hope he would win, but for now, I think a nomination is at least the most I and others that like his work can hope for. So that's all I've got to say, and peace out.